And while some are using the internet to hack into personal information, others use it to support their dreams. Crowdfunding has now reached the island of Cuba. Now, the rest of the world can invest in some emerging Cuban artists. CCTV's Begue has the story from Havana.
Cuban rumba beats like guaguancó and the Afro-Cuban sounds of the bata drum, mixed in with a little bit of jazz, makes up the eclectic sounds of the Cuban band Banda Ancha, led by Gissi Garcia. They call the style high-speed Cuban jazz.
We mixed it with funk and a little bit of reggae and samba, and we mixed all these rhythms together to produce a fun sound.
27-year-old Gissi is a well-known percussionist in Cuba. She's worked on various studio albums and has been signed to represent different music brands like Sabian Cymbals. But when it came to putting together her first album, she didn't want to be signed by a label.
We want to own the recording rights, but it's very difficult to record an album if you don't have funds.
And that is how the idea of crowdfunding came along. It's a way for people to raise money for everything from donations for personal art projects to equity financing for businesses. The quintet is made up of Jorge Aragon on the piano, Julio Cesar Gonzalez, bass, Julio Rigal on the trumpet, Begue DJ, and Gissi Garcia on the drums. The goal for their crowdfunding campaign was about $6,000 US.
In the last 5 years, the crowdfunding industry has become a worldwide phenomenon. One industry report says that in 2013 alone, more than $5 billion US were crowdfunded online. But for those here in Cuba, campaigning on the internet isn't easy, as the island has limited bandwidth and a low number of connections.
We had to constantly move the campaign every hour, and from here that can be complicated. Sometimes we could not find internet connection. We had to run to hotels or ask friends to let us use their internet.
The efforts have paid off. Gissi and Banda Ancha surpassed their goal, receiving donations from the United States, Europe, and all across Latin America.
I'm really happy that there are people out there supporting this type of project and are willing to give their little grain of sand, even if they don't know the artists personally.
As Gissi and her band found success, more Cuban projects are starting to pop up on crowdfunding sites. As for Gissi's project, the band hopes to have its album, called The Latest News, out in May. Begue, CCTV, Cuba.